Hey guys, Yuri Elkaim here. Welcome to another lesson in how to lose belly fat and get six-pack abs. And today's topic, we're going to be looking at the difference between cardio and strength training. The real clash. Cardio or strength training, which is best? Why should we do either one? And that's what we're talking about. So as you'll recall, we did a lesson on how many calories we needed to lose fat, right? Total body fat. And basically it came down to creating a net caloric deficit, right? So we had less calories coming in than we were expending, giving us negative numbers so that over time we were losing body fat. So, okay, so how do we go about doing that? Well, we're going to talk about the dietary stuff in another lesson, but today's lesson we're going to be looking at exercise. And we're going to be looking at the difference between, is cardio better or is strength training better? And, can we do both? Can we do either one? And all those questions. So, anyways, let's have a look at, I want you guys to think of this. Think of it in this way. I've put them into two categories here, short-term and long-term. And when I say short-term versus long-term, I mean the benefits in terms of caloric expenditure and burning body fat on a short-term basis versus a long-term basis. So, let's get started. Let's look at cardio first. Cardio, long-duration cardio is very short-term. So it has a short-term effect on the number of calories you're burning. Now this is okay, it doesn't mean it's bad. It's just remember the difference. Long duration cardio, let's say you go for an hour run. You might burn, depending on your pace, upwards of 1,000 calories. And that's great because if you want to create a net caloric deficit and you're looking to burn fat and lose weight, that's what you need to do, right? You need to burn a lot of calories. That's why for people who are heavier and who have a tough time losing weight, long duration cardio can be a really good stepping stone or a starting point, because simply the duration and again, depending on the intensity, the higher the better, obviously, the more calories you're going to burn. So long duration cardio is great for immediate effects. But the thing is with long duration cardio, let's say you go for an hour run. There's really no benefit after that initial couple hours, within and around that running period. The next day there's really no continual effect of caloric burning. So if you look at it from an investment perspective, not that it's a bad investment, but there are better investments for your dollars, right? So if you want to get the maximum bang for your calorie burning buck, we got to look at the long-term effects, the long-term solutions, which really come down to high intensity interval training, which is another form of cardio, or you can actually do with body weight stuff as well, or even with weights. High intensity interval training, or HIIT as a lot of people call it. This is the way I train. This is the way I train my athletes. This is what I use for myself. The majority of my workouts are based on this. I do this sometimes, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with this, but if you're relying solely on long duration cardio, you're not going to lose fat, not at all for the long term. Interval training is amazing because it has a couple of benefits. First of all, high intensity exercise is going to burn a lot more calories. That's all it comes down to, is if you can exercise longer for a higher intensity, you're going to burn more calories. That's really as simple as that. Let's say you're running on a treadmill. We have two people the exact same weight. They both weigh 160 pounds. One person's running at level 7, the other person's running at level 10. Both for 20 minutes. Who do you think is going to burn more calories? Obviously the person who's running faster, right? Intensity is the most important determinant of your ability to burn calories. Now if you combine that with duration, that's a double whammy. So interval training is beautiful because what it allows you to do is, it's pretty much, I've got my marker here. What it allows you to do is integrate bouts of high and low intensity. So I'm just going to draw a little diagram here. So one bout we've got a high intensity, then low intensity, high intensity, low intensity, high intensity, low intensity. And what that allows you to do, I'm going to lose my whiteboard here. Bloopers 101. So what that's going to allow you to do is, over time, each of these bouts, let's say you're working at a high intensity for 1 minute, right? If you're going as fast as you can go for 1 minute, you can do that several times, for let's say 20 minutes. And over that 20-minute time period, you might be working hard for a minute, recovering for a minute. That means you're working very, very hard for 10 minutes. And if you were to work very, very hard for 10 minutes all at one shot, you most likely would not be able to sustain that kind of pace. So interval training is beautiful because it allows you to work at a higher percentage of your maximum capacity for a lot longer, which means you can burn more calories, and you actually dramatically improve your cardiovascular endurance much more than you would using long duration cardio. Okay? So high intensity is what it's all about in terms of improving athletic performance, cardiovascular performance, and burning calories, which obviously lead to burning fat. Now, the other beautiful thing about interval training is that studies and studies and studies are now showing that there's a really cool benefit called excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. I know that's a mouthful, but just think about this word, EPOC, EPOC, EPOC. What that means is that your body, after a high-intensity session like that, was going to require a certain amount of time to burn calories to bring your body back to a resting state. That's important because during high-intensity exercise, your body's not able to get enough oxygen in to sustain the required demands of the work. So what happens is it's almost like after the work is done, your body is now getting in more oxygen to kind of make up for that deficit, and anytime you're bringing in oxygen, you're burning calories. Roughly every liter of oxygen you consume, you burn about 5 calories. So because you have this elevated oxygen consumption after your workout, you're burning calories for hours. And studies have shown that high-intensity interval training for little as 20 minutes can elicit an EPOC response for up to 24 hours. That's huge, right? That means that if you do interval training in the morning, you're going to have a fat-burning effect all day. And again, the key is high intensity, and the longer the duration, the better. You're going to get higher EPOC values, right? More calories being burned if you work out. Higher intensity, longer duration, okay? That's the key to remember. Very, very important. And this also ties in with full body, high intensity strength training workouts. And we're going to talk about this next. Another long-term benefit, a long-term solution, a long-term investment is strength training. People think, oh, well, I want to lose belly fat. What do weights have to do with any of that? Well, they have everything to do with that. Long-term solution, the ultimate goal, if you're looking to burn fat, is to raise your metabolism so that when you're sitting down at work from 9 to 5 or whatever it is that you're doing, you're burning more calories than you would have previously. As I'm sitting here, I'm at about 7% body fat, and I'm not blowing my own horn or whatever. That's just the way my body is, and because of that, I have a lot more lean muscle, which means that I have a fast metabolism. So as I'm sitting here, I'm burning tons of calories. A, because of the way I work out. B, because I have a low body fat percentage, which means that my basal metabolic rate is higher, right? Because basal metabolism is going to be heavily influenced by how much lean mass you have, right? The more the better. So we increase our basal metabolic rate by increasing our muscle. The more lean mass we have, the more our basal metabolic rate increases. Remember that equation we did in the other lesson where we looked at if you have 25% body fat, you're going to have a certain basal metabolic rate? Well, if you